When you got the first really bad news, the just whatever you want to consider as the ugliest news that you got from one of these doctors, did you sleep that night?
No.
What was that like? You go home, you're laying in bed with your wife and you're quiet, or are you going in and out of emotions? What is that like?
Well, you're trying to, there's no words for it. You go to sleep, and they gave me Valium or whatever to try to sleep, but nothing can really knock you out. So you sleep for 15 minutes, you wake up, you're wrestling, you're crying. I mean, the emotions go from, I can't even describe the emotions because you just can't, first of all, you can't get your head around it. You can't believe it. You're hoping that it's misdiagnosed. You're trying to figure out where you're going to go next, what your next play is when you first hear it. You know, so you start Googling the best cancer hospitals in the country. You figure out how you're going to get to those. I mean, you can't sleep because you feel healthy, but mentally you feel like a train wreck. And for the first 3 weeks after I got diagnosed, and I'm taking you a little further, or 2 weeks after I got diagnosed, I was a mental mess. I couldn't even, I couldn't sleep, and then when I did sleep, it was awful, and it's horrible.
Are people afraid to contact you? Are friends afraid once you guys have been very, very outward with all of the emotions and all of the information with your blog, which some people are probably seeing this video on that blog. And that's been a really great thing for people to be connected and to understand what's happening, but also not to bother you. Did you get, what were your feelings like? Did you not want to hear from people? Were you some people want to probably hide in a dark room. Some people in that first stage, in the beginning of, you know, the shock and the denial of finding out.
It didn't bother me. The outpouring of love that I had was mind-blowing. I can't tell you how helpful it was to get me through the first 2 weeks. I mean, I was getting thousands of text messages, emails. I couldn't even. Is
that wild? What does it feel like?
It's crazy. I mean, the amount of love that people threw my way was insane, and it was coming from everywhere, which is what led to the blog, because there was so much going on. But I don't ever want it to stop. I liked it. I enjoyed it. You know, people would send me all sorts of nice, positive, you know, text messages and Bible verses and all sorts of different stuff. And the funny thing is there's not one person out there that I know of, you know, everybody, and I don't think they're just lying to me. People don't think that this is going to beat me. I don't know.
I don't think it is.
I know.
I said that the first time I talked to you, finding out I was driving home from Nashville, and I found out that this was going on, and I couldn't believe it. And I called you immediately thinking you wouldn't answer, and you called right back, and you sound like the same old Lee that I've always known. Where's God in all of this?
Top. Right on the top of the list.
Stop right there, because I find it interesting, and I think a lot of people might be asking the same question. A lot of people find God when they have to. And you hear the people that are super religious say, well, where were you before? Talk to me about how that comes on to you and how you process that and how you look at it moving forward.
Well, that's the crazy part about it. When you feel kind of like a hypocrite when you turn to God when you get terminal cancer. But I had a good friend of mine that died. His name was Pete Adler, and this is part of the blog. But he was this guy was, I worked for him for years. Wonderful, wonderful man. And he dropped dead of a heart attack one day. And I grew up in a Christian family, you know, a little off the wall family, but it was a Christian family. And I just didn't pay attention to it because we were at church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was just like overkill, so you just tune it out. So I saw him, and I was at his funeral, and he was the first guy that ever died that actually impacted my life. I've had family members that died that didn't impact my life, but this man totally impacted my life. And I said to God, I sat in my bathtub, and I said to God, I don't want to be the guy that gets hit by the bus and just doesn't pan out. So I said, I'm not coming to you on my own. It's not going to happen. I've got life figured out, so go ahead and train wreck my life.
This was a conversation you had with God how many years ago?
Oh, this was 5 months ago.
Oh, 5 months ago. Okay, yeah. I thought you were saying when this first guy impacted you.
Well, he died.
Oh, that was 5 months ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he dies. I say, you know what? I mean, I grew up in a Christian family, so I've always believed it, but I've always believed it, but I've never, you know me, I've never practiced it by any stretch. I mean, I'm the guy dropping F-bombs on the tennis court. And you know, I've kind of lived a crazy, fun life. But so I said, you know, train wreck my life, and the next thing you know, I have stage 4 terminal cancer.